My revert story, how I became Muslim. So just after we have reacted to the previous video by Samantha Dixon, I saw on the sidebar there's a suggested video of her revert story. So I'm interested to know. So we'll go straight into this video and react to it.
Hey everybody, Sam here. I am currently in the parking lot at Walgreens. I've had kind of a day, so I decided to do something to boost my mood a little bit and share with you guys my revert story. So here it goes. And yes, that is baby Imani sleeping in the background. So I'll start it with, I was brought up Christian. We weren't like super practicing, we celebrated Christmas, but that's more of an American culture thing at this point. Everybody celebrates Christmas. That's not like Muslim or Jewish. I think even like atheists celebrate Christmas. But anyways, so yeah, I was brought up Christian. I've had a lot of different experiences in my life, some really good and some really bad, and that influenced my choices as a teenager. I was pretty wild. I rebelled in a lot of different ways, you know what I'm saying? I was super into self-medicating. I smoked a lot of weed coming up, as a teenager. And I mention that because Islam changed a lot in my life. So I bring up the bad stuff so you can understand why, Islam was so good for me. So I was 16. Me and my mom and family, we moved to another house in Detroit. There was a Muslim family across the street. And before then, keep in mind, I cannot tell you a time where I had personally interacted with a Muslim. And if I did, they were probably non-Arab and men, because I can tell you I'd never knowingly looked at a woman in a scarf even. You know what I'm saying? So my perception of the religion was, they're all Arabs. That's usually what kids think about Muslims, and they hate Americans, and that's pretty much the knowledge that I had. They prayed 5 times a day. I learned that in school, but that was it, as far as world religion studies or whatever. But
So that is interesting. Of course, we do expect that a lot of people do not really know about Muslim or Islam. But nowadays, perhaps because some of the syllabus is including some of the religious stuff because of the recent history that we have, right? Including 5 times a day prayer, meaning it becomes more of a common knowledge that Muslim pray 5 times a day, right? However, that brought an interesting point. I do remember in Malaysia, where it is a Muslim majority country, I actually had an experience where I end up in a mall, a small mall. Is it a mall then? It's basically small mall like building. It's a small mall. Mostly Chinese there, in the shop lots, etc. Right? And when I ask where is the prayer room, where's the surah or musalla or something, right? Where can I pray, because it's prayer time. The I asked around, nobody seems to know. And then when I asked this Chinese guy, a young guy, maybe around 20 years of age, right? He asked back, right? Why do you want to do, right? Why are you searching for that place? I said, I have to pray, right? I have to pray. And he was surprised, like, you have to pray now? I said, Muslim pray 5 times a day. And he was kind of puzzled and shocked and cannot even, it's like totally something that he has never heard of, that Muslim pray 5 times a day, or Muslim pray multiple times a day, right? Which is something that is, meaning that at that day it made me realize that there are people in our country, in Malaysia, where it's Muslim majority country. On the TV, on radio, you can hear azan, the call for prayer, etc. But there are some people who didn't even know the fact that Muslim pray, let alone pray multiple times a day. So that I don't know, because she said she knows that fact, and there's a person in my country where it's majority Muslim. There are person that do not even know that, right? So there's a lot more work to do, right? Oops.
But yeah, so my knowledge in Islam was not little, but completely misinformed. So yeah, meeting them was like an awakening, you know what I'm saying? So seeing these people that are so sweet, and you know, the daughter didn't wear a scarf, but the mom did, and the dad was super religious. He fasted outside of Ramadan. So like it was nice to see the difference in what I thought versus, you know, the reality. And then going forward,
I was pondering for a little bit when she said her father was super religious. I mean, what is super? And then she said her father fast, and I thought, well, fasting in Ramadan is common, right? But fasting outside of Ramadan, okay, so that is quite normally for most Muslim, because not many Muslim, well, there's quite a lot of Muslim that prays and not pray, perform Monday and Thursday fasting, etc. But not that many as a whole, right? So yeah.
I had met someone who, I remember my first interaction was talking about a Marilyn Monroe tattoo that I wanted to get on my back, and he was like, but why though? That's really dumb. So he just instilled in me to basically think before you act, you know, simple stuff. He also, over the time, okay, so first of all, I'm talking about my husband. Everybody knows that I've been married for basically a decade at this point. And before I go further into details, I want to make something very clear with you all. I am not Muslim because I wanted to marry my husband. I am Muslim because Islam is what's right for me in my heart, and regardless of my relationship with him, I would still be Muslim. So please do not accuse me of faking my religion for a man, because it's very common and I'm aware of that, but I'm surely not the case. Anyways, so we met and we would argue about a lot of things, you know.
That, okay, this is going off a tangent, right? But that reminds me of a person in Malaysia also who have similar story. He's a guy, and when he said, because his story of becoming a Muslim involve a girl that he falls in love with, something like that, right? So marriage or becoming a factor in people becoming Muslim is something that is happening. Yeah.
Mostly I was wrong, you know, because a lot of things that my side of the argument would just be stupid, immature, you know, kids wanting to get their way type of stuff. So, you know, we would talk about religion and he taught me a lot. And at first the idea of hijab was like, why do I have to cover? I didn't understand, why do I have to do something and you don't? And first of all, I was wrong, because men have to cover too. They just have different ways of covering. And I didn't understand at first the value of modesty in general. And then even when you take away all the other things, hijab is for God. You know, you do it to show your dedication and love for God.
Yeah, so that's an important point. Several things she did mention about the covering, the modesty aspect in Islam. It's not just for women, it's also for men, right? I do talk about this when I reacted to the video of, what is it? It's about misconception about Islam, I think, one of my earlier reaction. And the recent point that she mentioned is very important, that we comply with the dress code primarily because we want to serve and obey and submit to the command of Almighty God. That's the first and foremost, right? Not, and then with that, of course, comes the hikmah, the wisdom behind it, right? So, but we do not do it because of the wisdom, right? Protection, etc., etc. We do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You know, that's just like the basics of it. So when I understood that, or when he explained that to me, it was such a beautiful thing. And you know, the more I learned about Islam, the more I kind of decided that I needed it, because Islam is not just a religion. It's a way of life. It's every aspect of your life. Eating with your right hand and not your left. Saying Bismillah before you take a bite. There are a lot of parts of Islam that is a positive influence in different aspects of your life, and I saw that learning it. I saw how beautiful someone's perception on the world can be when they're looking at it through the eyes of Islam. And that sounded so corny coming out. I swear to God, I didn't mean to sound so corny. But oh, I'm being loud. Sorry, baby. But yeah, so we were friends, and we would talk about religion and our lives and what we want to do with our lives, growing up and stuff like that. And I decided that I wanted to be Muslim. And through this time, at the time, I did go through a point of confusion. I don't know, because I was trying to figure out, I was 16, 17, I was young. We don't think clearly when we're teenagers. So I was struggling with understanding my own feelings of whether or not I loved Islam or if I loved my husband, or both. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to figure out if I was doing this like 100% for me, or if I was being, the typical teenage girl, just trying to make her, this guy that she liked, like her back. You know what I'm saying? And it was a tough time for me. But when I can't tell you for certain the moment, but there was a moment, and I just, like, I needed Islam, but I needed him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like a package deal, kind of. Like, I knew I could be Muslim on my own because I feel it in my heart, and I believe the teachings of Islam. But he just brings it out on me. He makes me try harder to be a better Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just wake up in the morning and I need to pray. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that person for me. So I love him for so many different reasons and ways. You know what I mean? And this did not, I didn't intend to have this be about my husband at all, but he really did save my life. And I say that all the time, and my mom kind of laughs, and she says it a little bit too. But I'm gonna stop actually, because I think I'm gonna cry. But I love being Muslim, and I love the community and the family that I've joined, and I love that my babies are gonna grow up to be Muslims that obviously they're Muslim now, but just knowing that they have that makes me so happy. So again, please do not ever assume that I am the type of woman that wears a scarf because she got married to a Muslim, because that's not the case. Us ladies over here, we love Islam. So yeah, that's my story, and I love you all, and I appreciate you listening. And if you have time, press the like button and share, please, so we can get more people involved in our little family we got going here. And if you have anything you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Yeah, so that was her story. Basically, she falls in love with Islam, and that's basically the picture, right? I think I do not need to add any more things to that, except that a question, assuming that you are a Muslim watching this one, right? And especially most of the viewers from my country are born into a Muslim family, and we are born into Islam, basically, right? The big question that I have to myself, and to all of us is, when we talk about Islam, do we get emotional? Do we get that feeling, that overwhelming feeling, like what we saw or it's just like a theoretical thing, like, oh, Islam is good, Islam meaning, because I think that is the major thing, differentiating between many revert, because they have a certain path of struggle to get and embrace Islam, compared to many of us who take it for granted and do not even put enough effort to understand it deeply, right? Which is sad. So again, to the question, to ourselves, do we feel that level of appreciation and love towards the religion itself, the Islam, or there's something lacking there, and how to fulfill that? Because that feeling is the one that, because as she mentioned about hijab, etc., all those are symptom or external things that comes from within. When you have that kind of feeling, it makes everything outside easier, right? And you feel it when you do it, right? It's not just we are Muslim, we have to do this. It's not like that. It's not just rules and regulation and you have to obey whether you like it or not, but the level of feeling that triggers everything to becomes easier, to becomes, you do it with passion, etc., right? So that's, I leave it at that, and for us to ponder upon that. Yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.